But it started right up, and then I put the whole thing back together, and then it wouldn't start at all. And through diagnostics, I came up with this. This is the starter relay. I decided that's the only thing that it could be. I ordered one on eBay. I mean on Amazon. So while I'm waiting for the starter relay, this thing had 9, 10 years, maybe 12 years worth of dirt on it, dust, and it had just been moved around. I couldn't ride it, so all I did was move it around the garage from one place to another. It just collected dust for all those years. So I'm putting some spit and polish on it, trying to get it shined up, looking presentable. Coming out okay. This is just the first stab at it, and I will end up, I'm sure, doing it again, doing it with some quick clean stuff, and I'll put a good coat of wax on this thing at some point once it's all back together. And I did have it all back together to take it for a ride, and as I said, I pushed the button, nothing happened, so it was back to the drawing board. But coming out okay. Should have the starter relay next week, and I'm looking forward to putting it in, getting this thing started again. So I just did a brake job on this Intruder, and when I finished the brakes, I put the retaining, there are 2 retaining clips in right in here. Right in here. This is how you access the brakes. They're really easy motorcycle to do a brake job, to replace the pads on. You just pop this off like that. See? Just a little cap that comes off of there, and you have access to your brake pads. Now, if you can see this little clip right here, there's supposed to be one on the back. But when I went to install it, it got away from me, and it's a spring. 2 pieces of it, one piece goes under here, or one end goes under this, one end goes under that, and you've got this to support it in the middle. But those are bent metal, and it's a spring, so it keeps pressure on these things to keep them from moving around. Anyway, I lost it, and I ordered 3 of them because just in case it happens again at some point. And I'm going to put that in. Yeah, I don't know if I have to take those cotter pins out now that I'm looking at it. I probably do. It's the way you're supposed to do it, but I don't know that I will. Let me see what I can do here. So there it is. That's the way it's supposed to go in. Now I have to push this in the rest of the way. I have to push this pin in the rest of the way over here, and then put the cotter pin in on the other side so it doesn't come out. Here you go. That's done. Now my brakes are 100% done, and this part of the project can be checked off the list. That's it. New brakes. There's something else that I wanted to show you while I have this apart, and that's the way that I mounted my hard bags. I had Kuryakin soft luggage, and it was fine. This is what came on the bike when I bought it, and it was good for holding those bags away from the tire. The Kuryakin was nice. They were nice bags, but I couldn't lock them, and I wanted something lockable. Now you have to understand that at the time I couldn't even ride this bike, so I had put it away in 2012 and not touched it again. And I had a friend that was converting a Goldwing from an Interstate to a standard, and I asked him what he was doing with his bags. He said he was going to throw them out. I said I'd buy them from him. So I he just wanted, he didn't want anything but a couple of bottles of wine, which I gladly supplied, and he gave me the bags, and it took me a while to figure out how I would get them on here. I thought about buying ghost brackets or whatever they're called, but I didn't like the way they held the hard luggage away from the body of the bike. I like a nice tidy look, and it just seemed like there was too much room in there. Now these bags are nice because they've got that little pop out at the back end there, and that covers up any space, but these things actually mounted really close. These bags mount only this far away from the body of the bike, which is really close. And this is I just tried to figure out a way to use this as my mounting system. And what I came up with was this little bracket sandwiched in here, and it's really, really tight. It doesn't move at all. And then I said, well, how am I going to secure the back end? Because, see, I wanted to use the existing hardware, these things here. And I had to line that up properly, and it had to look good. And I think it does look good. So anyway, yeah, I positioned this so it lined up with that grommet, and I positioned this. I figured out that I could mount it to my license plate bracket, which is it's not pretty tough. I mean, it's very tough. But this was only secured at one point, and that's not good engineering. And I didn't really get back to this. I mean, I just didn't ride the bike, so it wasn't an issue. But now here, when I started taking a look at it, I said, okay, all of the little things that I wanted to do, I'm going to take an opportunity to do them. And what I came up with was this miniature grommet. Not grommet. What I came up with was this miniature turnbuckle. And it's mounted, I'm telling you this, look, that thing is not, I'm moving the whole bike, for crying out. Look at it. That thing does not move. And when that bag's mounted on there, it's just solid as a rock. Now, I wanted to show you what I did with the bag itself, because I thought that this was pretty ingenious. You see this thing right here? I call it a flat spring. I had this, I drew the plans for it, and this little indentation there fits perfectly around. I took all the measurements, and I figured out how I wanted to do it. This thing is dovetailed at the bottom because, or kicked up at the bottom, because if it wasn't, you have a hard time putting that over the bracket here. So when you push that down, that thing pops right over the top, sits right in that groove there. And I also had this cut, a backing plate cut for it, to give it extra rigidity inside. I don't want this fiberglass cracking in any way. And this is really, I mean, it's really solid. Listen, I know they're 1983 bags on a 2000 motorcycle, and at the time it was just, I was playing with it, but I like the way it looks. It's kind of I cobbled it together out of really kind of nothing. Used what I had. I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I didn't like this bike and really kind of resented that this was the only thing that I could really ride at the time. And while I got it apart, I didn't notice that stuff on there last time I had it apart, but I'll take care of cleaning all this stuff. It's yucky. And here we go. Well, everything's put all back together. Running pretty smooth. I think the idle needs to be adjusted.
I bought it, put it in, went for it, started up great. Everything run for a 200-mile ride, and then after 200 miles, 10 miles from home, it broke down 3 times. I got it started each time and made it home, but it quit on me 3 times. And I mean, not that it wouldn't start. start. I had nothing, no electricity, nothing. The only thing that had changed on it was the starter reel.